guys, it's Sasha
and Lauren,
and welcome back to So You Live Under a Rock. So today we are reading through Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief chapters 14 through 16.
Yeah.
And we have some summaries on what happens in the chapters as well as our notes, thoughts, and feelings as we read through them.
Yes, we do.
And we're very excited to start. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go. Chapter 14, I Become a Known Fugitive. As Percy dives into the water, he realizes he's not hurt at all from the fall or the chimera's bite. In fact, he can breathe underwater. Looking around him, he spots Riptide a few feet away. Then, this ghostly spirit appears and tells him his dad believes in him and advises him to hit up Santa Monica before heading to the underworld. She also warns him not to trust the gifts. Before vanishing, she gives Percy some hope on his mom's situation. So, Percy grabs Riptide and swims off to reunite with Annabeth and Grover. Above water, there's a commotion with news crews and cops trying to figure out what happened at the arch. Eyewitnesses saw Percy diving while the trio discusses their next plan, head to Santa Monica. They overhear news reporters connecting the dots between the kid who jumped and the fugitive they've been looking for. So, they make a hasty getaway to the train station and head to Denver before anyone can recognize Percy.
So, in this chapter, Percy has just jumped from the St. Louis Arch. He's in the water. We start the chapter in the water. And I feel like we learn a few things about Percy and his connection to water here. He's not wet under the water. The things he touches are also not wet.
While he's underwater, I actually thought this part was pretty funny. He takes a lighter that just kind of like floats by and a hamburger wrapper, and he lights it on fire because he wants to test his powers. So underwater it's lit, and then as soon as he lets go, it becomes wet.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was a funny moment. Like, I don't think I would have put those two
I
things
wouldn't have
together.
not have thought about it. I just been like, this rocks.
Yeah, I probably would have like tried to hold my breath or something. I don't know. Like, that's not the test I would have done.
I would have. I don't know. How fast could I swim?
And then
Olympics here I come.
Ooh. Oh. Phelps, watch out. He did.
Oh, I was doing butterfly. Did he do all of them?
I think his famous one was this one. The butterfly.
Butterfly.
Yeah. The butterfly. And then as Percy, so he jumps off of the arch, which we saw in the previous episode that we have. If you have not seen that, go check it out. He wishes that he had some sort of deep revelation of his own, but when he was faced with death, he basically, his only thought was, ah!
Which, fair enough. I also just think it's so funny, like, obviously a few chapters ago we learned that the underworld is, like, in LA, and, like, that's just funny because, like, it's LA. And then it's also funny that they're, like, going to Santa Monica, like, we don't know for what, but they're, like, on their way to Santa Monica, and, like, just, like, if you've ever been there, I'm sorry. and I mean that personally. I'm from California. I've been to Santa Monica a few times.
Have I been to Santa Monica?
Not with me.
Well, then I have not. There we go.
It's, you know, the
Mr.
pier.
Solved.
The pier with the Ferris wheel. You know, someone was just climbing on the Ferris wheel the other day.
Oh my,
They had to, like,
do that.
No, they had to, like, shut down the pier.
Oh my god. Okay.
So it's just kind of funny that, like, that's where they're off to.
I had a plot hole moment in this chapter. Simply just, I mean, I guess it's how it happens, but how does the news identify him as Percy Jackson so quickly? Because, like, they start circling around and like, oh yes, it's Percy, and like you hear
my only thing would be like maybe they
should
have a picture
I
of
guess,
him from Gabe from like early on, so they have a picture, and then maybe like because there were other tourists at the top before he like jumped into the water, and like maybe they were like, he's a 12-year-old boy with brown hair, like maybe they like just put the two together.
That was always just something to me. I'm like, God, like they really got him fast.
Yeah, they were like, we wasted no time. God, just got.
The sun just moves completely.
Wowza.
Anyway.
Anyhow.
And then I just have one last one on this one. I thought it was funny that thinking about his schoolmates back at home, or just people who just kind of know him, and just being like, oh my god, like that's part of the Percy lore. Like he just jumped off the arch.
Like classic Percy.
You're just like, oh my god, like, and they only know what they're seeing on the news.
Yeah.
So like he's ran away, maybe murdered his mom, who knows? And that's what the viewers at home, you know what I mean? Like, we don't...
Maybe he murdered his mom, I guess.
Who's that? And then he jumps off the arch, like, what is he doing? Take away
classic Percy.
Yeah,
classic Percy. Chapter 15. A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers. In Denver, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover hit up Chiron through Iris messaging. That's the rainbow goddess who handles messages for the gods. Luke picks up and he fills them in on the fact that tensions are rising at the camp. Before disconnecting, Luke doubles down on the fact that Hades might have swiped the Master Bolt using his Helm of Darkness. While stopped at a diner, Ares, the god of war and Clarice's dad, shows up and decides he wants Percy to fetch his shield, which he lost at the Tunnel of Love while he was hitting the water park with his girlfriend. In return, Ares will give Percy some info on his mom and give them a ride as they head west. After some initial hesitation, the group makes their way to the water park. There, Percy finds out that Ares is dating Aphrodite, the love goddess, despite her being married to Hephaestus. Hephaestus knows about the affair and always tries to humiliate both Aphrodite and Ares. With Grover on the lookout, Percy and Annabeth get caught in a trap set by Hephaestus to catch his unfaithful wife and Ares in the act. They're suddenly in the spotlight, and a countdown begins for a live broadcast to Mount Olympus, when, out of nowhere, thousands of metal spiders swarm in. Annabeth is frozen in fear, but Percy uses his water powers to take the boat for a spin and fight off the spiders. Before they crash, they bail from the boat, and Grover swoops in with his flying shoes to catch them and carry them to safety. They survive the drop, shield in hand, and Percy is fired up to confront Ares about this mission.
So the first note that I have for this chapter, iris messaging, which in the book they refer to as I am at some points.
Hilarious.
Which is funny, but also
Dates the book.
nobody uses I am anymore, so that dates Rick.
Yeah, Rick. Yeah,
Nobody uses I am.
Even
DN, but not even really.
That wouldn't even be
Maybe that aged us when I just said that.
I think we're still relevant. We're so cool.
Snapchat us.
That ages you.
Oh god. Or gods, sorry.
Oh. And I think it's just so funny where Annabeth is explaining that this I am is for the gods to communicate, but like, if you're really nice, sometimes she'll like let you do it, which is just like, what's the backstory there?
Yeah, we need to know how she discovered this. Was she mean at some point?
But I think that just also further proves that like, Annabeth knows what she's talking about. Like
she's full of information.
She knows a lot of stuff about the way this world works, and she is very valuable.
We have a character comparison brought up by Percy. He sees Ares, and he is instantly reminded of Smelly Gabe.
Yeah, which, ouch.
Yeah.
What a comparison. And I think it's interesting that Ares, like his aura, his temperament is like, for lack of a better word, I'm just thinking about Twilight. It's just like imprinting on Percy, and like it can feel himself getting angry and like wants to fight him, which I think is like really interesting.
It's an interesting vibe to give off.
Very much, yeah.
You would have to think that, I mean, yeah, he's the god of war, so maybe he's into it, but at some points it probably makes him feel very lonely.
But he's got a girlfriend.
That is true.
He's got a girlfriend.
A girlfriend who is not single. Let's start with that. She is a married woman.
Who notoriously does this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
to the point where her husband tries to catch her.
Yeah.
And when I was reading this scene, I was having a funny thought in my head of just like a reality or TV
That's what I was
sitcom
picturing
of
too.
the three of them, and just like, I'm trying to avoid saying the word if you couldn't tell. Hephaestus. Hephaestus is just trying to like catch Aphrodite. And
yeah, it feels very like punked to me.
And like every episode ends and he's like,
canceled?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, then not punked. Something like punked.
Yeah, I think he's still canceled.
I think he is now. Okay.
People stopped talking about it, but I think it was.
I think he's definitely canceled.
Okay. He's canceled if he's not already. We're canceling him here. So you live under a rock.
Canceled.
Annabeth being super embarrassed to go into the tunnel of love with Percy.
So funny. That I feel like shows their age.
Yeah.
That is like.
Oh, so now you remember that they're.
Now I recall that they are pre-teens, tweens, if you will.
And then we see Annabeth. She's super fearless. We haven't really seen her cower at anything except when she was in the bathroom doing that one time.
Yeah,
but you know that was just
situational. Secondhand embarrassment.
She's definitely afraid of spiders,
which is shocking. You would think
something so small would scare her.
Yeah, but there is some mythological backstory to that. You know, the spiders and Athena and whatever. But it's just so interesting that like that is what gets her. She's like not really concerned with like this mission or anything. She hasn't really expressed any fear about going to the underworld or anything, but like the second, like, not even a real spider. It's like a mechanical spider shows up and she is like, she can't move. Yeah.
So
and you know what? Tunnel of Love was not in the movie.
It was not.
And there has been some behind the scenes pictures that have been released of the show.
It's right here.
It's right here. I'm very excited because we haven't been able to really put a visual to this scene. And, you know, you come up with them in your head, but I'm really excited to see how it pans out in the show. Like, I'm very excited
I imagine
for
it,
this
like,
scene.
super, like, dark and, like, kind of like this.
And I'm picturing, like, kind of, like, neon red flashing hearts. And, like,
I'm
picturing it to be kind of, like, very cheesy.
Like, Small World.
Small World, if they were in love.
Right at the end of the chapter, they finally escaped this Tunnel of Love situation, and there's a broadcast now to Olympus. The gods are watching this scene happen, and Percy just yells, "Show's over, thank you, good night," which
Percy. Yeah, he is not having it, and I think we've seen now multiple characters tell him, like, don't be a pawn, don't trust this, don't do this, da da da, and I think it's finally starting to get to him, and he's getting mad. Percy's pissed.
Mad, and he's not with Ares right now, so it's not.
So it's
all him.
It's all him.
Chapter 16, we take a zebra to Vegas. At the diner, the group returns Ares' shield, and he hands Percy a backpack full of food, clothing, and money, and points them to a truck headed to Los Angeles. Before they split, Ares drops a bomb that Percy's mom isn't really dead, she's being held. So they hop on a truck with caged animals, making a pit stop in Las Vegas. On the way, Percy learns that Grover used to be the protector of Talia, Zeus's daughter, who was turned into a pine tree that protects the camp. The two other demigods she was looking out for were Annabeth and Luke. Annabeth also shares that she tried to make peace with her family a couple years ago, but ended up back at Camp Half-Blood. Percy has the same pit dream again. He hears this mysterious voice and sees his mom reaching out to him, but he wakes up to the truckers checking on the animals. After seeing some nasty treatments of the critter, Percy sets them free in Vegas, and he and his pals bail from the truck. They find themselves in the Lotus Hotel and Casino and get a room key. They shower, eat, relax, and play video games, but Percy starts to feel something's off. Folks around them seem totally zoned out. Nobody can even tell him what year it is. Percy has to snap Annabeth and Grover out of the trance they're in, and they leave the hotel. That's when they realize they've lost track of time and have only one day left to complete their quest. I have the chills all over again.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Scene. So we're in Vegas. Vegas, baby.
That's show business. I don't know what show I'm in.
But before we get to Vegas, we're in a truck with zoo animals. In the truck, Percy can talk to the zebra.
Which, first time this has ever come up.
And the zebra's calling him Lord. And like, just...
It's very odd.
It's silly. It's very silly.
We're really seeing more of the extent of what Percy's powers are. Because obviously, water is something that he has domain over. We've known this since chapter 1. But now we're learning other aspects of his powers. So he's turning out to be much stronger than we first knew.
And the explanation for this is Poseidon created horses. So he can talk to horses. Of course. It's also revealed before we get to Vegas, Ares knew that his little mission that he sent them on was a trap. He knew Hephaestus was kind of out to get him and his girlfriend. I was going to say his wife, but
not his wife.
Not true. She's got advertised as a husband and a boyfriend. Promiscuous girl. Whatever you are.
There was no audio, and now there's just all these audios.
There's more to come.
We met two gods, Mr. D and Ares. In the flesh.
Yep, in the flesh.
So 2 gods in, Percy's already beefing with the second one.
They are not on good terms. Percy is still just really mad at all of these gods. He's starting to realize he's this pawn, this little piece of the puzzle, and he's not liking it.
Ares kind of helps in this chapter. He gives them like a backpack, but that was pretty much the extent. He's just kind of like, okay, like, good luck. Like, there's a truck with zebras. Get on it.
See ya. And then while they're on this truck, they have like a little group trauma dump moment, which is great because we finally learn more about Grover and Annabeth's relationship, more about this like past mission that keeps getting alluded to. So we finally get the full scope of what happened there.
We also see Annabeth discuss further the spider issue.
Oh,
She basically lets Percy know, like, if there's ever a spider within a mile of me, it's going to find me. She hates the creepy things, and she's very glad that Percy rescued her from the situation.
Shout out Percy. We also, in this truck, we learn about the camp beads, which are like on all the necklaces of the campers at Camp Half-Blood.
I wanted a bead necklace like theirs in the book so bad when I was a kid. That's one of my notes here. It's just, I really, really wanted one.
They're so cute, and like I think camps should actually do this. I think it's a cute idea. And they paint like a little scene that like encapsulates the summer onto a bead, and everyone gets a bead, and you know, you get one for each summer that you're there. And I think that's like cute little, I'm sure camps do something like that, but
at my camp we did swaps. So we made like, basically you made an individualized little craft and put it on a safety pin. You could put it like on your hat or something, and you would give it to someone and they would have to give you something back.
That's cute.
So that was what we did.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think that was actually kind of cooler, but I really wanted the bead one.
Yeah, that's some cool stuff.
The first bead that Annabeth got was the pine tree bead for in memoriam of Talia. And then the other thing that's on her necklace that kind of stands out is her father's class ring that he had sent her 2 years prior. He was trying to make amends with Annabeth. She actually went back to the house and was trying to make it work, but the stepmom didn't change at all.
Yeah.
So she ended up back at Camp Half-Blood.
Yeah, again, just trauma dumping. Annabeth had like a really tough go.
Yeah. We also get a little sneak peek of Percabeth, which we won't get too far into that.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there
when we get there.
But we do have a moment where Percy and Annabeth are discussing, you know, what's going on Olympus, how the gods are, you know, kind of choosing sides. And historically, Poseidon and Athena are not usually on the same side. But she says to Percy, I don't know what my mom will do, referring to the situation. She just knows that she's going to fight next to Percy. And then she like drifts off to sleep. And like that's like the whole little scene.
But I'll take it. I will take it.
It's the beginning and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, where are we?
Lotus Casino. Poker face. Poker face. Poker face. Yesterday, Sasha and I were just kind of talking through this episode, and I started singing Poker Face like really slowly, like poker face. Like, and I was like, where is that from? Like, it's from Glee.
She was doing a Glee song,
which Glee supremacy. That's what I'll say. I'm a Glee.
I've never seen it.
And we're done.
So we're at the Lotus Hotel and Casino. I think this was, and I think it still is, one of my like top dreams in life, just to be like invited to somewhere, given a card, and being like, go ahead, run free.
But it is a bit of a red flag. They walk in, they're given these game cards, this room key. They kind of were like, hey, like, we didn't book a room, like, we kind of just ended up here. And they're like, haha, you're making a joke. Like, at first they're kind of like, God, this is crazy. And then they get to their room. There's clothes in the room that seemingly fit them. Seemingly ranch. It's just... I don't know why I said seemingly, like the clothes fit them.
Seemingly ranch.
Sorry, what was I
saying? So the clothes maybe were ranch. Is that what I'm supposed to take away from that?
So the clothes fit them, and they're kind of just like, God, this is kind of weird, but this place rocks. Like, they have food, and they've showered, and they have clean clothes, and they have unlimited games that they can go play. And they kind of just get taken aback by this game. Like, there's one that seems really perfect for Annabeth, where she's able to like do this architecture thing.
Brainiac games.
And Grover, there's one where like animals can hunt humans, and he's really into that one, which is kind of like, God, your two best friends are right there. You know what I mean? Like,
Percy says in the chapter that he sees Grover and Annabeth, but they don't really seem to interact when they're on the floor together. So it's just kind of, you know, they're in their own little worlds at this point.
Yeah, they seem very stuck in these little worlds.
Unfortunately, I think I would fall into this trap a little too well, especially if they said that there was a spa. Oh God, like
I would be
stuck there for billions of years probably.
Yeah.
We have Percy in this chapter starting to kind of piece stuff together. He's finding it odd. There's kind of something holding him back from fully realizing the truth.
And he kind of starts talking with this guy, with like just people around, and there's this one guy who says groovy, and that's kind of Percy's like groovy. And
he's
then
wearing like Elvis pants.
Yeah, and he kind of just starts to notice like
maybe
a lot of different period characters here.
Characters.
Yeah, characters, period. I don't know. And he gets so bold as to ask someone like, hey, what year is it? And they say like, what, 1977 or something? And Percy's like, no, we gotta go. And that's it for Percy. He's like, something is amiss here and we have to get out of here.
Which, I mean, very strong.
Yeah, good for Percy.
Mental
good for Percy.
I mean, clearly people have been in there since 1977 and longer.
Yeah. So Percy gets Grover and Annabeth there are like not wanting to go at all.
Yeah, they finally leave, and the hotel staff are like, "Oh no, please stay, please stay."
And as they're leaving, it's getting more tempting and more tempting to stay.
And then they realize as soon as they get out that they've actually been in there for 5 days,
and they only have 1 day left to complete this quest, which is just.
Have you ever had like something big due and you had like a week to do it, and then all of a sudden
it's the night before?
It's the night before. That's kind of where we're at right now. So like things are picking up. Not for this episode because this is the end of this episode, but
for next episode,
things are picking up.
Things are moving. Pyramid time.
Who do you have on the pyramid? Last spot
on the pyramid this week. I have Ares.
I also have Ares.
He's the god of war.
Yeah. He's not going to win a lot of points.
He comes in with a lot of negative energy. He's making Percy feel negative. He sets them up.
Yeah, a 12-year-old to go get his shield that he left when he was cheating on, Aphrodite, his girlfriend, was cheating on her husband.
So he's complicit in that. He's not to blame, but he is complicit in that, and that just does not sit well with me. We'll move her up for now.
So yeah, Ares.
On the bottom.
He does have a pretty fire photo. When I was looking at the Percy Universe photos, this was pretty fun, but not good looks. Who do you have next?
Next I have Luke.
I also have Luke. He appears very briefly. He does give the trio some information about what's going on at camp.
But it's all negative. He doesn't really do anything to like encourage the group. Not that that's like his job, but like it's just very
Debbie
Downer. Yeah. And it's just like they didn't really want to talk to them or talk to him, and it kind of feels like he
Chiron anyway.
Yeah, it feels like he kind of just weaseled his way in.
Yeah, I really wasn't into that.
I didn't really like that this time around.
So, although we do have a moment where Luke is asking Percy if he's enjoying the gift that he gave him.
Oh, yeah.
And Percy ends up lying to him and saying, "Oh, yeah, I love it." If you don't remember, Percy gave the flying shoes that Luke gave to him to Grover, which Grover uses in these chapters to actually save Percy and Annabeth.
Yeah.
So Percy just tells a lie.
Great. It's going great.
Yeah.
Who do you have in your third spot?
In my third spot, I have Grover.
I also have Grover in my third spot. I have Grover and Annabeth both kind of just in this neutral middle tier this week because they just kind of are, again, doing similar, same things. I don't know. He didn't stick out to me.
These two, were on the same level for me because I feel like we got relatively the same amount of information from them. We learn about the situation that was obviously very heavy on Grover's mind. Annabeth opens up about her family life. She opens up about her fear of spiders, which I don't know if she was going to actually say that up front. It kind of just came out because of the spiders.
Had to come out,
but I feel like these two characters are at a good spot where we are at right now.
They were really great support for Percy in this set of chapters, and I think we'll get to a point where, they start moving around a little bit more, but I feel like they're just good right here in the middle, both of them. I'm lumping them together.
Yeah, I also want to kind of lump them together, just because I feel like they're the same right now.
Yeah.
That leaves our top spot, which third week? Second week. Percy.
He's kind of getting out of his, my life
his
sucks.
Own way.
Yeah.
He's getting out of his own way.
He's getting out of his own way. He's not really, complaining that this is his life anymore. He's kind of just been okay, I gotta do my shit, and he's doing it.
He got them out of the Lotus Casino and Hotel, which clearly was a feat other people have not been able to escape.
Yes.
This
It
was a
really
pretty
shines
easy,
in this
yeah,
chapter.
this was a pretty easy decision, I think, to
Agreed.
put Percy up there. And yeah,
Yeah.
no one will top him.
That was it.
Except
Well,
for Annabeth. Eventually.
thank you again for tuning into this week's episode of So You Live Under a Rock. In the meantime, while you wait for our next episode, you can catch up on all of our previous episodes up on our channel. Until then, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and make sure you like and subscribe all of our videos so far. Let us know
What do you think?
what you're thinking, what we should be talking about more, talking about less, more singing.
Definitely more singing.
We'll see you next week. Thank you.